It is October 15th, 2020. This video is going to talk about the Q4 or the second, which is our second governance round for the Permissionless Software Foundation. This video is intended to be watched by community members, and you know if you're in the community if you own PSF tokens. This is a governance token. This video is going to cover some fun stuff first. We're going to talk about successes that we had in the last quarter, and then we're going to talk about grants for the next quarter. And once we get through the fun stuff, I'm going to talk about the boring stuff in terms of the governance of the Permissionless Software Foundation. So this is really intended for Permissionless Software Foundation members who are interested in the progress of the community, what the funds got spent for last quarter, what they're going to get spent for this next quarter, as well as just some of the lessons. This is a recap on some of the lessons that we learned over the last quarter. So, today was the Fund 002 airdrop, and this is the token ID of the funding token that was airdropped. So if you staked your PSF tokens for 2 months, you got this funding token. So the cutoff was August 15th. From August 15th to October 15th, which was today, and so it happened today at noon. And so you have until November 1st to send your new funding tokens to some of the grants on the grant page, which I'm going to cover in a minute. But first, before we talk about the grants for this next quarter, let's talk about the successes from the last quarter. And then after I do that, I'll get into some of the more in-depth governance issues and sort of lessons learned, and some of the community-oriented technology that we're building to give members in the Permissionless Software Foundation a better voice, not just a greater voice, but a better voice. So success from last quarter. The best place to look for the successes that we had this last quarter is in the blog, in this Q3 progress report. I've got it loaded up in the web browser here. This is the Q3 progress report. If you go to psfoundation.cash, you can go to the blog on our menu item, and that's how you can find the link to this report. So just to start off, we started the quarter, wasn't really a start to the quarter, but we sponsored the BCH DevCon 3. That was a huge success because it brought new developers into the Bitcoin Cash space, and it introduced developers both in and outside the Bitcoin Cash space to the tools at fullstack.cash, and that's important because memberships with fullstack.cash burn PSF tokens and create more demand for PSF tokens, the more people who use the tools at fullstack.cash. It was also just a great way to help the community, and it fulfilled our mission of promoting both Bitcoin Cash and open source. We've been working really hard this last quarter on wallet.fullstack.cash. This is a mobile-first web app, so it works in the web browser on a desktop, but it's designed to look really good on a phone as well. These cards, they look a little clunky in a normal web browser, but when you shrink your web browser up to like the screen size of a phone, you can see they look pretty good. These cards, big blocky buttons, they're easy to hit with a fat thumb on a small screen. And we've got all the basics here. We've got your Bitcoin Cash balance, which you can get. It loads by default with all your tokens in your wallet, and you can hit this button to manually refresh. We're working on we're trying to strike a balance between performance and usability, and so we're still working on it. That's why there's this big red button at the top. But it's fully functional. We're encouraging people to use it. Don't put very much money into it because it is an alpha release and it could burn tokens, it could break. So, but we are encouraging people in the community to test this. It sends and receives Bitcoin Cash. You can switch between Bitcoin Cash and SLP tokens. You can on a phone screen, you can just touch that to copy the address. Automatic US dollar to Bitcoin Cash conversion. It's got this QR code which lets you scan a QR code, and that works really well on Android devices, not so much on iPhone. We just added this ability to sweep paper wallets. In fact, we just released a video on how to generate paper wallets and use paper wallets. We've got this great blurring feature, so I can make screencasts like this and I don't have to worry about giving out my mnemonic or my private key. And we've also got post office integration. That's kind of new. It's not fully baked, so I won't go into it. And you can read more about this on the About page. But I am encouraging Permissionless Software Foundation community members to use this. Try it. Let me know if you run into problems. Give us feedback, because this is going to be one of our flagship projects to encourage people to use the services at fullstack.cash. That's the back end that's powering this application. And this is a demonstration of the kinds of applications that businesses can use using our tools. And this is all open source and white labeled. We're encouraging people to take this application and fork it and build their own applications around our core web wallet. So this is a huge success. It's going to be... Oh, and every transaction made with this wallet sends a 2,000 Satoshi, that's about half of a penny, to the Permissionless Software Foundation as a donation. And it's baked into the software. It's open source, so anybody can remove it. But if you're using the wallet at wallet.fullstack.cash, you send a token or you send some Bitcoin Cash and you open in a block explorer, you'll see that. And so that's going to burn PSF tokens and increase the value of the tokens held by the developers. So let's get back to this progress report. I also mentioned we have a prototype SLP post office. We're going to keep working on it. It's there for our business partners and anybody who wants to use a post office for their business. We have the source code. We have the expertise. It is working. It needs to be tweaked. We're looking for additional sponsors for that. The paper wallet sweeping was a sponsored project. That was our best sponsored project to date. It's fully functional, and I'm really happy with how it's performing. And then message.fullstack.cash. I'm going to spend more time on this towards the end of the video. I'm going to give a more thorough demonstration. But there's two important parts to this. In fact, I have it pulled up right here. This is our community feed. This is going to let people in the Permissionless Software Foundation communicate more effectively with one another. I'll just give a demo of this real quick because it's so cool. This is piggybacking on top of the memo.cash protocol. So if you go to memo.cash, you can create a profile. This is like Twitter, but on the blockchain. And this is an example. So see, this message says blockchain signaling uses dust. And then that message is repeated here. Blockchain signaling uses dust. This is the same message. And this is a rough prototype, but what you'll be able to do is send and read community messages from within this app. And until we get that done, you can, if you're feeling adventurous and you want to play with it, create a profile on memo.cash. Make sure you have some PSF tokens on your profile. I think I sent myself 2. And anyways, they're in here somewhere. And then this PSF community is a profile on memo.cash, and you can use this send button. And as long as your account on memo.cash has some PSF tokens, then your message will show up here. But what's cool about this is these badges on the right. The top one is token quantity or balance. The second one is token age. And then the third one is merit, which is the quantity times the age is the merit. And so we can use this for spam prevention, where the longer you've held your tokens for, the more merit you have. And if we get too much spam on this feed, we can crank up the dial and only show messages with so much merit. And we'll probably have multiple feeds. We'll have like a public feed. We'll have a VIP feed where you have to have really high merit in order. It'll be the same feed, but in that VIP feed, you'll have to have really high merit in order for your message to show up. And the focus is on this is that we want to listen to the management of the Permissionless Software Foundation wants to listen to the members, and we want to listen to the members in proportion to the amount that they are invested in the community. And that includes developers, that includes people buying tokens, and this puts them on equal footing because you have to have tokens, and the best way to get those is by earning them. And then the longer you hold them, the more weight the easier time people are going to have seeing your messages. So this is going to be a very important tool going forward with our community and helping us to communicate better. There's also going to be this very email-like messaging system. This has been a huge body of research that there was a grant that funded it this last quarter. You'll be able to send messages to Bitcoin Cash addresses the same way that you send an email. And you'll also be able to send files, and everything will be end-to-end encrypted by default. You can choose not to encrypt it, but everything will be end-to-end encrypted by default. And the UX is very smooth. It's much easier and much more secure than email. And we're making excellent progress on this. And this is all due to the work of Daniel. Sometimes he goes by Daniel Gonzalez. Sometimes he goes by Daniel Umberto. This guy right here. He's doing an excellent job on message.fullstack.cash. So that was a huge success this last quarter. Another project we're working on is torlist.cash. Let me pull that up real quickly. This is going to put Tor-based websites and IPFS-based websites and Web3-based websites on Ethereum on equal footing with .com websites. This is actually an old prototype. I need to push some updates to this. But we're going to have different categories, and you'll be able to advertise your website by staking PSF tokens. And so you'll put in an address that contains PSF tokens, and then we'll have a tool for generating a signature. And so you'll be able to sign a message and prove that you own that address. And that is how you stake tokens to advertise your website. And you'll have a short description. People will be able to get more info. But this is also going to increase demand for PSF tokens because people will be staking them in order to show up on this website. And this uses IPFS. It's censorship-resistant techniques so that the website and the database is accessible over the interplanetary file system, and it will be very, very hard to censor. So they can take down torlist.cache, but they won't really be able to take down the database. So that's another excellent success that we've had moving forward, because in the video I've talked about how important the gray market is going to be, and Tor is a great way to run a private website. IPFS is a great way to run a private, uncensorable website. But the problem is letting people know that your site exists. It's the same original problem that we had before search engines. Google won't touch Tor websites. They won't touch IPFS websites. So this is how we're going to solve that problem. And it's simultaneously going to increase demand for PSF tokens. This is being put together by Gary Nadir. He's heading up this project. He's also in Venezuela. Daniel and Gary are both in Venezuela. And the PSF tokens that they're getting paid is making a huge difference in their life. We also made incredible progress with collaborative CoinJoin. Stoyan did a bunch of research. We added some new examples to the code example repository. And so we're going to have, this is going to be a grant for this next quarter, is going to be taking this research and actually building a real wallet around it. And it's going to be a peer-to-peer coin mixing with no server involved. It's just from wallet to wallet. They'll find each other using IPFS, communicate using end-to-end encryption and IPFS, and they'll coordinate a coin join transaction in order to add fungibility and financial privacy to your wallet. And yeah, as I mentioned, Gary and Daniel are both in Venezuela. Nicholas is in Argentina, which is also very economically repressed. And the money that they are making by earning PSF tokens is making a huge difference in their life. And it's working when the financial systems in their countries are not working. They're rendering services, the community is benefiting from it, and the community is supporting them. And so we've set up this excellent reinforcement circle, virtuous circle, where everybody wins. So this is what we've accomplished just in one quarter, thanks to the support of our community members. So let's talk about what we're going to focus on this next quarter. First, let me introduce the people. This is me, Chris Troutner. I'm the head janitor. I founded the Permissionless Software Foundation. It's my baby. I'm learning as we go. And last quarter was my personal objective was to find people that I trust and could give cryptographic keys to and start removing myself as a point of failure. And at this point, the finances are all in multi-sig wallets. And if I got hit by a bus tomorrow, this community and the management could continue without me. And I'm going to continue this into the next quarter of helping to manage projects and keep them on task while simultaneously diluting my share of the PSF tokens to get them out into other community members' hands and continue to dilute my importance, essentially. So that this community can very quickly be decentralized and stand on its own two legs and not need a central, figure. And so that's the main thing that I'm focusing on, is diluting my my sort of leadership role and onboarding other developers and community members to pick up the torch and join in so that I'm not so important. Daniel has been, he lives in Venezuela. I've been mentoring him for about 1.5 years. He's an excellent developer, and he has just done incredible work this last quarter on building message.fullstack.cash. I strongly encourage everybody to support him. David Allen has also been doing some good work, just reaching out. He's sort of I can't always give as much attention to everyone as I want, so it's been great to have him to carry that, help me carry the load, and also reach out, and his business experience has really been valuable. It's been a great working relationship with his gray hair and my technical expertise and his sort of biz dev savvy, and it's just been great. I've had a really good time working with him. He's an asset to the community. And then the grant administrator, who chooses to remain unnamed, is doing a great job, and they have also been a huge asset, helping keep track of the funds and where they go and managing everything on a timely basis. So that's the core management, and myself, and I don't know how I'd label myself, and Daniel, and we've also had some other excellent contributors, Andre, and everybody. I tried to give everybody a shout out in that Q3 progress report. So let's move up to the projects. So wallet.fullstack.cash, I showed that. Obviously, that's really important. It's still in alpha, still needs some work. We're going to keep working on that. I think it's just super important. it's also, if you go to wallet.fullstack.cash and you scroll to the bottom, you can see our Tor link and our IPFS link. So you can access this wallet over Tor and IPFS. So this is designed to not only be a web wallet, not only be accessible on a phone, but to be censorship resistant. And we had a good test of that. A woman in China tried to use it, and the wallet is banned in China already, which I thought that was rather quick. But she was able to access the web page over IPFS. However, the back end was still blocked because that's not on IPFS. So we have some room for improvement in terms of making a web app that's accessible by people in South America and in China and in Russia, which is something I want to focus on. That furthers our goal of agorism and supporting the gray market, as well as promoting Bitcoin Cash and freedom of speech and freedom of privacy. And so we're getting very close. We've had great success, and we're going to keep pushing forward with this grant. We also have free infrastructure that we've set up, and this grant goes to pay for that. We've got a free tier for Bitcoin Cash that allows a lot of developers to get started with very low friction, and that's been a huge success this last quarter. With the looming chain split, we've set up another free tier, so one that will follow the BCHN chain and one that will follow the ABC chain. As well, we're also working on a tool to split coins, and I'll do more videos to talk about that as well as a blog post. But if you want to read about how we're preparing for the fork, that's also, we have a blog post on that, on the specific things that we're doing to protect our community and protect our business users and prepare for the fork and support both chains. We're not going to pick a side. We're going to support both chains because this is the fork's going to be over governance and not technical things. So we don't have to do anything to support both chains. So our free infrastructure, other than spin up a little bit of extra infrastructure, but this will be a way for us to support both chains and continue to support the community even if there is a split. I kind of talked about collaborative coin join. This grant is going to continue to have us go from research to actual app. I talk about Cash Shuffle and Cash Fusion, which if you don't know what those are, you should check them out. They are privacy solutions, financial privacy solutions that are in existence today, and they are what everybody should be using, and they are great. But there's a couple problems with them. Cash Shuffle suffers from what's known as the dust problem, where you ultimately end up with a dust in your wallet that has low value but high information content, and people just don't know what to do with that. They don't want to throw it away. You shouldn't have to throw it away. This collaborative coin join protocol solves that problem. Cash Fusion, in their attempt to sort of solve that problem, they use really high combinatorial logic combinatorial transactions, and you end up with like dozens or hundreds of little tiny UTXOs that you have to combine, and theoretically that shouldn't be a problem, but it just doesn't like feel right. Like ultimately, I think your wallet should end up with really large anonymous coins, like 1, 2, 0.1, 0.5, 0.01. Like you should just have a bunch of really like whatever size UTXO you want, and they should be anonymous, and that's originally how CoinJoin is supposed to work, and that's what collaborative CoinJoin achieves. And it also does it without having a centralized server, so there's no point of failure. No one can get thrown in jail for money laundering because it's you and me working together just as if we were standing around a table throwing our dollars and shuffling them around and putting them back our pocket. That's not illegal. That's just you and me goofing around with our money. And this is the same thing. There's no way that this can be framed as an illegal action. And so that's all good things, and we're going to keep pushing forward with this collaborative coin join. So if you value financial privacy, you should fund this. That's what this goes towards. I also showed Tor list, and I explained how important that's going to be to put the deep web on equal footing as the clear web. It also is very clearly going to increase demand for the PSF token, because that's the whole way it works. And so this is going to be an interesting project to keep pushing forward to. And these funds go to support Gary, and he's in Venezuela, so he's a good guy to be supporting. This is a new one, Blockchain Metrics. This is an attempt for us to be more transparent with the community, and for the community to keep us honest as a management team. By publishing once a day a very small piece of information containing statistics on the PSF token, the price of Bitcoin Cash, and some of the software metrics that we use to gauge our success. We're going to publish them to the blockchain once a day, so it'll be a very small amount of information just once a day. Won't cost much. It's not hard to code up. So this is going to be a small, simple project to do that. And I think it's going to inspire a lot of businesses to sort of see these trade-offs between using the Bitcoin Cash blockchain for storing data and when it's appropriate, and storing data on the IPFS network, which is much cheaper and much more efficient. And we're really pushing both of those options to businesses that need solutions in this space. And so that's what this is. It'll be interesting to show these tools, but it'll also help this community personally stay transparent and stay honest. So those are the projects. We're gonna basically, how the projects work is we're going to have a budget, whatever gets donated, and we'll break up the whole project for the quarter into tasks and tag each task with a bounty, and then we'll reserve a little bit just for sort of unforeseen things, so it's just a little more flexible to focus on a subject rather than some specific feature, whereas the bounties are much smaller in scope. And so there was several bounties around the Bitcoin Cash JavaScript library and REST API that are the core pieces of technology that fullstack.cash is built around, which is a core driver of the value of the PSF token right now. And so this is it's probably a project, but it's going to be broken into several bounties. And so it's going to continue the work from last quarter and add new bounties for continue to work this quarter to build better developer tools, basically maintenance of this very important tool that all of our software depends upon. SLP Cli Wallet, I have several videos on YouTube where I've talked about how powerful SLP Cli Wallet is. It's a command line HD wallet that has SLP-Token support. It's great for developers to do rapid prototyping. We have several bounties up for grabs already for that, and so these bounties are going to continue that. And this is foundational work to get towards the collaborative coin join. SLP Cli Wallet is going to be used as the wallet to develop the collaborative coin join protocol, in production. So this is also, if you want to donate towards financial privacy and developer tooling in this space, this is a good bounty to donate to. And then this is sort of a slush fund. This ended up becoming really important last quarter just for general community building. We used some of these funds last quarter to donate to the hackathon. We also just used them to donate a couple hundred tokens to the block hack hackathon happening in Canada right now as I film this. And and just sort of trying to, every once in a while we'll get a junior developer who is hungry and they just want something to do. And so, holy cow, somebody already donated 8,000 tokens to this. Dang, that's a hit. Wow. Okay, I guess I don't even need to sell this one. And then I talked about the people. Okay, so, and then if you want to see the previous grants from last quarter, you can scroll to the bottom and click this link. And this is where the old grant pages are going to live. So that's the grants for this quarter. Okay, I'm going to stop here. And that covered the fun stuff. That covered everything you need to know, where we've been and where we're going. I'll do another video to cover the boring stuff and to go into the more core governance that I hope more Permissionless Software Foundation community members care about and want to watch. But I'll wrap this video up here.